Hello, and welcome to the Building Your Project tutorial on how to build your machine using the Rockwell Automation Connected Component Accelerator Toolkit. If you recall from the previous video, this is the default screen that you see when you create a new project. The information is already entered in from the previous video. Now that the basics are set up, you can select the rest of the products to add to your system. Click the arrow down below to navigate through the screens, or jump to a particular screen using the options on the left-hand side of the screen. This is the starter controlled motor screen. You can simply add a starter controlled motor by clicking the up arrow and then selecting the Add button. By clicking Add, a default starter and motor are added to the system. Each product entry screen will add commonly used products that will serve as starting points for product selection. Many applications will need variations from the default product. Use the Edit button to open the configurator and select the setting to change, in this case, the horsepower. Select the horsepower you need, click Accept, and in 5 clicks you have adjusted the horsepower. Another important feature of the CCAT is the name used with each device. This name will be used in the bill of materials, the CAD drawings, in the programming variables, the logic programs, and on the HMI screens. While the default name can be used, we recommend entering a name that will have meaning in your system. Remember back to the PDF drawing, we already had made names for all of the products. Note that a name must be less than 14 characters and can only have letters, numbers, and single underscores. By double-clicking to highlight, we can enter in a name. In this case, it is conveyor. You can click the right arrow at the bottom of the screen, or you can simply click the next option below Starter Controlled Motors. This is the Soft Start Controlled Motors page, and this screen works exactly like the last. If you wish to add a Soft Start Control motor, just click the up arrow next to the one you wish to add, and then select Add. If you do not need that product, you can simply move past that page. We click to advance to the next screen. I simply clicked on the option right below it. You can still use the right arrow key. We do have 2 VFD motor controls. To simplify things, I'm going to add one initially. I click the up arrow once and select Add. We can edit anything we need to in order to fit our specific needs. You simply click Edit again, and a pop-up menu comes up. You can see the default catalog number here for the product that best, by default, fits the specifications earlier entered on the Machine Basics page. Here we will change the horsepower again to a half. Then we will press Accept. Again, we can change the name to whatever we want. In this case, I will enter in Sponge. After you change the size of the VFD, you can also change the motor and the circuit breaker. The designer is responsible for these changes. You simply click Edit, all the same, and you can easily edit any of the other products. I chose to only enter one VFD earlier, in this case, because I only had to go through the edit process once. I can now right-click on the VFD and press Copy. Now I can right-click again and select the Paste option, which is right below the Copy button. We now entered in another VFD with the exact same settings as the one before. Half horsepower, half horsepower. I did not have to go back in and press Edit to the second motor control. Notice when you copy and paste, if you had numbers in the name of your product or letters, the numbers or letters will automatically count up for you. Sponge 1A, Sponge 2A. In this case, we have different names though, so we just double-click and highlight the names to enter in the last name, which is separator. You should notice on the left-hand side that as we are going through the product selection list, which is this right here, there is a green check mark next to each screen that we have viewed. This simply lets the designer know what screens have been viewed and which ones haven't. They are there to help track progress through a design and are not required to generate a project. We don't need any servo drive control motors, moving past that. Some products allow the use of additional information when selecting the default product. In this case, use the drop-down menu to select the specific features of the different photoelectric sensors in addition to the number needed for the range. If you need more information on the specifics of a product, click on the link on the bottom right. This link will open the web page associated with that product. And here's the photoelectric sensors. You can quickly see all of the different sensors and different information about each. So if you have problems picking the right one, you can easily go here for help. Notice how the digital input count on the summary line will increase to reflect the addition of the sensor. The other type of sensor that we have is a capacitive proximity sensor. Click to add one. We do not need any other sensors, so I will move past these selections and just continue through to Operator Interface. Don't be alarmed when there isn't a green check mark. You can still continue. An HMI is required to generate a project. While a project will generate using a monochrome HMI, a color HMI is required to use the generated HMI screen set. If you enter in the wrong thing or do not need that product anymore, you can simply right-click and select Cut or the Delete option to delete it. In this case, we had an Ethernet HMI hookup. We also have push buttons in our system. Click on the drop-down menu to click Start and add one. Then, click on it again and switch to Stop and add another push button. We now have a start and a stop push button. Notice this one is green for the start and this one is red for the stop. Here you can click to enter your safety components, and we will enter one e-stop. We will handle our temperature control through the use of a DIN controller. Moving through to digital I/O, if spare I/O and/or I/O for third-party devices are needed, they can be entered here or on the analog I/O screen. On the analog I/O screen, we will add an RTD input and name it spare. Notice how our inputs jump up because of the inputs added. This section of the screen allows you to limit the controller options used when selecting a system. Usually, the base controller and output type are not limited by the designer. In this section, you may adjust and add in any build components, including your feeder, circuit, disconnect, circuit breakers, terminal blocks, surge suppressor, and DIN rails. This concludes the tutorial for building your project. To continue with this project and learn how to generate the project, select the next video, System Summary and Generate. Thank you for watching the Building Your Project tutorial for the Connected Components Accelerator Toolkit.